Well, howdy there, Bronco fans. Shad, Chris, this is Bronco Planet, and Chris, we're on our way to the playoffs.
Well, I think this is probably going to go down as the stick it where the sun don't shine episode of Bronco Planet.
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up because you know what? We talked a little bit about last week, Danny and I, talking about Peyton Manning, and you got to be fair to the press here, all right? The record was the record, right? He hadn't played very well in the cold. I'm glad that the press gave him a little hard time. I'm glad we gave him a little bit of a hard time because this was a different Peyton Manning. The demeanor compared to the New England game, compared to the Baltimore game, what did you see different about Peyton Manning?
Well, the record was the record, you're right. But in those cold games, look at who they're playing. Those were typically AFC championship games on the road against teams that went to the Super Bowl.
Those were good games.
Yeah, you got to win them. You came out, you saw a different resolve. You saw a guy, Dungy last night on TV said he knew that there was 400 yards coming this game. It didn't matter who they were playing. And you got the defense to turn the ball over a couple times, and that momentum, every time you looked up, if you weren't watching the game entirely, every time you looked up, they're scoring again. And that's what they're going to, it's obvious now they're going to have to outscore people, and they've got the offense to do it.
Well, everything we talked about earlier kind of came true in this game, all right? Throw the ball more than you run it.
Yes.
Do the pass and set up the run, and lo and behold, and guess what? John Fox might have got some more guts and other things when he got that heart fix, because the guy's got all kinds of guts, going for it on fourth down, not afraid to kick the long field goal after watching what happened to Alabama, right? Yeah. I mean, it's everything I wanted the Broncos to do. Peyton Manning fired up. He came out, throws for, 4 touchdowns, 397 yards, and he had that determination. It was like, we're pissed. You knew the Broncos offensive coordinator was pissed. They didn't want to hear it, and they came out on a mission. Matter of fact, I was getting mad earlier in the game because you see Walker drop a touchdown pass, and you see Julius Thomas, and you're like, come on, guys, he's pissed. Let's make this thing happen.
Yeah, you realistically think about, if you're scheming against this team going forward and into the playoffs, you've got 5 Pro Bowl caliber targets on offense between Thomas and the 3 wideouts. And let's be honest, is there a guy you've been more surprised with than Noshawn Moreno?
Yeah,
right. Remember before the season started, we were trying to think, who can we trade him to? Yeah. Can we get a second round? Can we get a third round or a fourth round pick for him? The guy's going to go to the Pro Bowl this year.
You could have got a box of Twinkies for that guy at the beginning of the season.
I would have taken a box of Twinkies.
I mean, but he's really playing with the emotion, and not only Noshawn, how about Monte Ball?
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row running with authority. Now, the guy got to work on his pass catching a little bit.
We got to hold on to that ball, right? Monte, hold on to the ball.
But anyway, I think the Broncos offense coming along. They got 4 guys now that have scored 10 touchdowns. I mean, and Matt Prater, you got to talk a little bit about this kick. Did you think it was going to go before it happened? Were you thinking?
You got to think, knowing Prater and how many kickoffs are going through the end zone and at the altitude, you had to think if it was ever going to happen, and the timing couldn't have been better because you're never going to line up for that. If that's middle of the third quarter, you don't kick, you punt there. But going into a halftime and giving Prater a chance, that thing just.
No, that made it, though. That made it.
Doesn't matter how far it cleared, but it cleared.
I was a little nervous because one of the first kickoffs that ended up coming back a long way, right, didn't make it even to the end zone, which is so, un-Matt Prater-like, especially in Denver. So I was a little worried about that, but, man, that was great to see, some former Broncos, a couple other guys. Hey, guess what? You're not the NFL leader anymore, so sorry, Elam, but that's the way it goes in the big city. But anyway, great things on offense. Julius Thomas finally back, had a good game. And Decker, how about that? I mean, Eric Decker's really coming along now.
Well, you see the guys, the ones to me, and not just Decker, but any of these guys at this level, when they're able to catch that ball out away from their body with their hands, as hard as that ball's coming, and not getting impaled with the ball, but taking it. And he is really, over these past 4 games, he's been the best offensive player other than Manning.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, this show is all about the fans, so we're going to take a short break. A good buddy of ours who we tailgate all the time with, Ron Clark, actually got featured by Bud Light, and you're going to see this little vignette of Ron and his family driving all the way into Colorado every single week for the Broncos.
Awesome.
That's diehard, baby.
We live in Carson, Iowa, which is 20 miles east of Omaha, Nebraska. We drive out on Saturday usually for a Sunday game and then drive home on Monday. I have a wife that loves football, so these are our mini vacations we come out to every home game. I just found these bibs one day, so I started wearing this, and I wear it for every game. I have no hair, so I had to kind of do a little bit on that, but yeah, the rest of it, I even brought a face painter in so I don't have to walk around to find him now, so it's only weird if it doesn't work.
Well, you got to love it when the Bronco fans like that get recognized. And, I mean, it's just a great group down there. Nothing better than to hang out, go down to the stadium, have a little fun before the game. So, now that we're having a good time and celebrating the Broncos, getting to the playoffs, we got to roll right. Let's roll right to the prize monkey, huh? Let's give away something.
Yeah, let's do that.
Prize monkey! That monkey's funky!
Say what?
Prize monkey! That monkey's funky!
Gotta love that prize monkey, Chris, and especially this time of year. We start getting a little closer to Christmas. Nice to get some Bronco gifts.
Sure.
We're going old school. I got the old school shirt on today. We are going to celebrate some old Broncos. How about number 25 here, Haven Moses, one of my favorite receivers of all time. One of the prizes this week, all you got to do to win these prizes is just simply go and make a comment somewhere on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. You make a comment about this video, you're in the drawing. What else do you have for us, Chris?
Signed headshot from Riley Odoms. Just told you when we were in the break, Riley Odoms was Jimmy Graham before Jimmy Graham was Jimmy Graham. You kids at home, you don't remember the Riley Odoms? Get on the intrawebs, onto the YouTube, see if you can find some old school footage of what during the 70s and early 80s, one of the premier tight ends in the AFC, Riley Odoms. This is a great prize.
Gotta love the old school stuff, and you know where it's coming from. Our buddy down there, Bill Sports Collectible, especially this time of year. Chris and I are going to try and get down there. We like to spend a little time there. Great sports memorabilia, but we're going to switch gears here. All right, we're heading to the playoffs. Offense playing great, right?
Yeah.
Now let's talk a little bit about that defense. Number 2, Chris, in the NFL last year, sitting at number 27. What in the world's going on with the defense?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Really, who have they stopped? You know, these games for the most part have been outscoring people. And at some point, you don't know, is it going to be Cincinnati when you've got Gresham and A.J. Green and Bernard coming out of the backfield, or is it going to be the Patriots again? At some point, there's going to be a series or a progression of plays where someone is going to have to step up and make a play. I was thrilled yesterday. I get Tennessee's not very good, but you were thrilled finally to win some of those turnover battles, to turn them over 3 times. Some of the interceptions, Von Miller getting after it. You know, and you love seeing pork chop. You love
for sure.
Fat guys everywhere love the big man in the middle with the interception.
With the big man, yes.
But let's be honest, that defense, it's not out of the realm that you could see a Super Bowl matchup with the Saints.
Yep.
And that would scare the crap out of me.
Well, one of the things that we're starting to see here, Chris, is and not a lot of people talking about it here. The local press knows a little bit about it, but there's a little controversy going on here in Denver. First of all, Champ Bailey has not been playing, and the Broncos, at least reading between the lines of what Jack Del Rio is saying, is, hey, we expect him to step up, and he, for whatever reason, now that's a weird foot injury. I don't know anything about. Most people don't. But the fact of the matter is the Broncos are wanting more out of Champ Bailey. He took himself out of the game 2 weeks ago. He went from probable to questionable, then didn't suit up. So that's a big concern. And certainly, no matter what happens this season, you know, Champ's going to have to take a huge pay cut if he wants to stay around. And who knows what kind of hurt feelings. I mean, it is a business. We've seen guys like Rulon Jones, the great sack guy, doesn't come to Denver, not really affiliated with the Broncos in any way nowadays. You see, you know, look at Atwater. There's no one better than Atwater. Ends up finishing his career in the Jets. It's always a tough time, but there's definitely something there with Champ. Wesley Woodyard not getting much playing time either.
You know, you've got at least from my perspective, I appreciate what Del Rio's doing. You want these guys to want to earn the right to play, and I think if you look at it, the number of guys they're rolling through in that linebacker position, Kayvon Webster getting a lot of run, but at the same time getting burned once a game on a long ball. Kendall Thompson beat him again yesterday. I think it's trying to find the right puzzle pieces. The injuries, obviously, with Vickerson and some of those guys obviously hurt, and I think Del Rio's doing the best job he can. You've got 3 weeks to figure out going into the tournament, what do we want that defense to look like? Big thing it's got to start, in my mind, with the pass rush. A decent pass rush. If you can get after the quarterback with 4 guys, that takes so much pressure off of that back 7.
Yeah, no, and absolutely, I hear where you're coming from there, Chris. It's weird weird, though. Sean Phillips, who is all we talked about for several weeks, has suddenly become silent the last 3 weeks. Von Miller's just starting to kind of hit his regular season form now, playing outstanding. But, you know, the fact of the matter, Duke, a guy that we talked a lot about earlier in the season.
Early on, was fantastic.
He was sitting on the sideline more. Omar Bolden. And Mike Adams, who, you know, has been so-so, is getting the most reps. Yeah. And so definitely I think Del Rio's had enough. I think he's probably trying to audition for some head coaching jobs, and everybody's seeing that, hey, man, the guy went to 27. Yeah. But I guess let's be fair, right? You didn't have Von Miller for, you know, 6 games, and then it takes him a while to get up to speed. Champ Bailey hasn't been there. Doomerville gone this season. Sure. So it's not that same team, but I don't know. I think Danny Trevathan, I think, is playing great ball. Fantastic. Leading the Broncos in tackles. Your man, you know, Terrence Knighting's been great. I think, and Von Miller's coming along. And
Chris to be honest, Chris Harris has been good. DRC's been better, I think, than what people thought we would get out of him. Yep. But let's be honest. Let's be honest, Chad. There's 31 other cities right now who hate me and you for complaining that we've got a 2-loss team. Exactly. Right?
Oh,
you could be Dallas.
I know.
Right? You could be Jacksonville. You could be lots of those other places.
It's a good time to be in Denver. I'm glad you brought it back for us, Chris.
Come on, it's the holidays.
That is almost like the holiday spirit right here on Bronco Planet. So anyway, so great things. We're certainly happy. We got a quick turnaround. We got a game on Thursday night. Looks like Welker, even if the NFL or something happens, they come back and say he can play. Come on, Broncos. Yeah, we need him for the playoffs. The guys say, you know, I don't think he should even play in that Patriot game. You know, little cuckoo after the getting hit.
No, and Caldwell slides easily into that third receiver, into that slot receiver.
And he's got more tattoos than Welker, obviously. Which is always should be considered.
Should be, absolutely. I'll show you mine later.
That's why Von Miller plays, really. Lots of tattoos. And Demarius. It goes on and on. So anyway, sorry to digress there, but that's what we do here on the show. But anyway, great things are going for the Broncos. 11-2, still staying ahead of the Patriots. Come on, Browns! Win the freaking game! How hard is it? Golly!
Well, when you're playing the 11 on defense and the 7 officials.
Oh, man, I know.
Officiating this weekend across the league was as bad. Ravens with a phantom PI call. Patriots with a phantom PI call. They're just, it's terrible.
It was terrible, but come on. I mean, there were some, that was weak.
It's the Browns.
And, well, and you hate to see someone get hurt, but, you know, when Gronk goes down, you care as a person, but as a Bronco fan, you're like, oh, man, thank goodness we do not have to face that guy in the playoffs. So.
Well, and you know, what's getting missed on the other side, Gronk going out, Ravens getting Dennis Pitta back, who looked really good yesterday. Yeah. Nice touchdown when they were in the red zone. Ravens suddenly have hung around long enough that after week one, if I were to sit here telling you that that's a potential playoff matchup, you would have thought I was crazy.
Well, you are a little crazy.
A little bit.
But that's what we like here.
A little bit.
All right, folks, have a great one. We'll see a quick turnaround on Friday, and we'll talk about another Bronco win. Yeah. Although McCoy's saying Chargers already won it.
You know what? Phillip Rivers, stick it where the sun doesn't shine.
Yeah. Have fun down there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you about, have you heard about